What happens when prehistoric power meets fantasy fury? Imagine one of Earth's most feared predators, the mighty T-Rex, charging full speed at a flying, fire-breathing dragon. It's the ultimate showdown between fact and fiction. In today's epic face-off, we'll pit science against legend, examining strength, weapons, strategy, and stamina, to find out who would actually win in a fight, the real-life terror of the Cretaceous or the mythical beast of fire and flight. And trust us, this isn't just make-believe. We're using biology, physics, and imagination to give you the most accurate prediction possible. So who takes the crown? Stick around to find out. This is Bright Mind Station, where epic questions meet incredible science. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and let's jump into battle. 1. Physical size and strength. The Tyrannosaurus Rex was a true tank of a predator, weighing nearly 9 tons and standing over 20 feet tall. With muscles packed into every limb and a skull almost 5 feet long, it was a walking engine of destruction. But dragons, depending on mythology, are often depicted even larger, some reaching lengths of 50 feet or more, with wingspans that could block out the sun. While dragons are fictional, if we base them on the laws of physics, a realistic dragon might weigh about 15 tons due to flight adaptations. This gives the dragon a size advantage, especially from the air, but T-Rex has solid mass and ground leverage, which could become critical in close combat. If you had to face one in an arena, T-Rex or dragon, who would you rather battle? 2. Weapons and natural defenses. T-Rex are one of the strongest bite forces ever recorded, up to 12,000 pounds of pressure per square inch. Its 60 razor-sharp teeth could crush bone like butter. While it lacked clawed forearms, its massive jaws were its ultimate weapon. The dragon, on the other hand, has an arsenal: claws, fangs, a whip-like tail, and of course, fire breath. Some dragons also have scale armor, which might deflect bites or blunt force trauma. So while T-Rex dominates in bite power, the dragon takes the lead in having multiple attack methods and natural armor. That's a serious advantage in battle. Which weapon do you think is deadlier, fire or bone-crushing teeth? 3. Intelligence and hunting instincts. T-Rex had a brain relatively large for a dinosaur and was likely smarter than we once thought. It had excellent eyesight, a strong sense of smell, and pack hunting instincts. But dragons in nearly all legends are portrayed as intelligent, sometimes even wise or cunning. They can ambush, plan, and use tactics, not just brute force. If we assume the dragon has animal-level intelligence similar to wolves or eagles, it still surpasses a T-Rex in terms of strategic thinking. This could mean the dragon would choose when and how to attack, using its environment to its advantage. Could a smarter opponent always beat a stronger one? What's your take? 4. Flight versus ground dominance. Here's where things get wild. The T-Rex is a ground-based predator, fast for its size, with some estimates putting it at 20 miles per hour. But it can't jump, fly, or escape upward. The dragon, with massive wings, can fly, giving it a huge advantage. It could launch aerial strikes, stay out of reach, or retreat to cliffs and trees. If the dragon chooses to fight from the sky, the T-Rex becomes a sitting duck. But if the dragon ever comes down, that's when the T-Rex's raw power becomes deadly. So air superiority belongs to the dragon, but it better not land carelessly. Would you bet on the sky or the earth? Tell us who has the real advantage. 5. Fire breath versus bone-crushing jaws. Now to the fantasy element, fire breath. If we assume the dragon can unleash temperatures over 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, it could incinerate anything it hits. T-Rex skin wouldn't stand a chance. A direct blast could end the fight instantly. But dragons likely need time to generate that kind of heat, and if the T-Rex closes a gap quickly, it could take the dragon down before it breathes fire. Also, real-world biology would limit fire to short bursts. So while fire is devastating, it may not be a continuous attack, giving T-Rex a slim chance if it can dodge or strike fast. Fire has always symbolized power and destruction, but it's also unpredictable. If a dragon were biologically equipped to breathe fire, it would need a highly specialized anatomy, perhaps separate fuel and ignition systems similar to electric eels and bombardier beetles. The process might require rest intervals between blasts, making timing crucial. If the T-Rex charges during a cooldown window, it might land a deciding blow. On the flip side, one successful blast to the face could end things instantly. It all depends on timing, distance, and who strikes first. 6. Battle tactics and terrain. If this fight took place in a jungle or dense forest, the T-Rex might have an edge. It could ambush from cover, trap the dragon under heavy trees, or use tight spaces to prevent flight. But in open terrain, the dragon reigns supreme, taking off, diving, and breathing fire without obstacles. The terrain would play a major role. If the dragon gets pinned in a narrow canyon or caught during landing, the T-Rex could take it down with a single crushing bite. On the other hand, if the dragon stays airborne, it could roast the T-Rex from above and never even get touched. Which battleground do you think favors T-Rex? Jungle, canyon, or forest? 7. Endurance and stamina. The T-Rex was built for short bursts of explosive speed and energy, but likely tired quickly due to its massive size. Dragons, assuming bird-like anatomy, would have lighter bones and be capable of longer flights. But flying takes an enormous amount of energy. The dragon might have to land and rest often, which makes it vulnerable. In a long, drawn-out battle, both creatures would tire. The difference is, the T-Rex can still fight on the ground. If the dragon collapses from exhaustion, it's game over. So endurance is a toss-up, depending on how long the fight goes. Stamina also depends heavily on metabolism. A dragon might have a high, bird-like metabolic rate to fuel flight and fire. That means faster fatigue, especially if flying in combat mode. The T-Rex, cold-blooded or semi-warm-blooded, as some paleontologists believe, would conserve energy better but rely on short, devastating bursts. The longer the fight drags on, the more tactical it becomes, not just physical. 8. Psychological warfare. Dragons, with their terrifying roars and fiery displays, might psychologically intimidate the T-Rex. After all, no dinosaur ever saw a flying creature that could spit fire. But T-Rex wasn't exactly a coward. It regularly faced other massive predators like Triceratops and ankylosaurs. If anything, a charging T-Rex might surprise the dragon with its aggression and lack of fear. Still, a fire-breathing, wing-flapping enemy is something the T-Rex could hesitate to approach, and hesitation in battle can be deadly. So psychological warfare slightly leans in the dragon's favor. Would a roar or a fireball win an intimidation game? 9. Defense mechanisms. The T-Rex had tough, scaly skin and a robust skeleton, but it was still vulnerable to punctures and fire. Its small arms offered no defense, and its large head was an easy target. The dragon, on the other hand, might have scale armor like crocodiles or even metal-hard hide, depending on the fantasy world. It could use its wings to shield itself, retreat into the sky, or use its tail like a whip. So when it comes to defense, the dragon simply has more tools, especially with the ability to avoid the T-Rex altogether from the air. Is thick armor more useful than agility in a one-on-one fight? 10. Who would actually win? If the dragon keeps its distance, uses aerial attacks, and breathes fire from afar, it would almost certainly win. Its ability to fly and its versatile attacks make it the superior predator. But if the T-Rex manages to lure it to ground or lands a surprise ambush, one bone-crushing bite could end the fight instantly. In a head-to-head clash with no fire and no wings, T-Rex dominates. But in a fantasy setting with all dragon abilities included, the dragon wins 7 out of 10 times. It's a brutal, legendary fight, but the edge goes to the mythical beast. If you could create your own battle rules, how would you even the odds? One is a real apex predator that once ruled Earth. The other is a fire-breathing legend etched into every fantasy story. This battle isn't just about brute force. It's about brains, weapons, and survival. So, who's your winner? Are you Team T-Rex or Team Dragon? Drop your vote in the comments and tell us how you think this battle would really go down. If you love this epic showdown, smash that like button and subscribe to Bright Mind Station, where wild science and crazy questions collide.